The plot of movie Titanic is written based on a real event that happened in 1912. The film was made in 1997 by director James Cameron. The film has been catalogued as one of the best productions in the romantic and adventure genre. Maybe in the future it will also be classified as perfect example of modern tragedy, as Romeo and Juliet's tragic love story has been defined today. In the plot of the film is involved a 17-year-old girl. Roscoe was being forced to marry with her mother to a rich man whom she had never been in love in despite his great fortune. But during the trip on the boat, Rose met Jack, a very poor boy who traveled to America with the illusion that in the future his dream of being something important will have been a reality. Both Rose and Jack fall deeply in love, and at this moment a third romance is being developed with the young couple. But Rose finds finding out that he's been deceived by his beloved. This is that such affront will be avenged. So a sinister trap for Jack has planned because and his servant. The plan is carried out successfully, and Jack had up imprisoned, being blamed for a robbery that was never done by the boy. By that time, inquiry itself had been detected by the ship's logs, and immediately the alarm was begun, given so that the passengers of the ship would begin to take the necessary precautionary measures, and so many lives would have to be saved. But despite the effort made by the crew, the Titanic collided with the iceberg, and immediately a large hole was made in the side of the ship, and large amounts of water are being stored in the ship's holds. The ship was declared in emergency, and passengers are being warned of the serious danger. But while in the upper part of the ship the people will be put to safety, though in the hull of the ship Jack has been chained to a tube, and the water tends to drown him. However, he screams very loudly, and thus will have been found by Rose, who looks for an axe and breaks the bonds, and both seek an order to save their lives. When the wall of getting onto the deck of the ship the young lovers was reached, Cole discovers them and chases them to kill them, but Rose and Jack manage to fly and look for ways to board a lifeboat, but not hit it, and it is then when, in terrible destiny of the ship and the passengers, it will have been pointed out the Titanic will be part of the seabed in a very short time. In effect, the hull of the ship is being split into by the great pressure of the water. The bow was raised vertically and now points towards the dark and starry sky. The storm has rained on the surface of the sea, but not for long, since the pressure of the water has been to submerge it, and very soon this part of the ship will begin absorbed by the cold and dark waters of the Atlantic. Suddenly, the ship literally being swallowed by the sea. The ship split into its beginning, thanks to unknown depth of the ocean. The tragic destiny of the ship and many of the passengers has been signaled. However, in the midst of the chaos and confusions, the couple in love were not dragged to the bottom of the sea, and they managed to stay afloat for a week. Rose has been looked and manages to her safe on piece of wood. But unfortunately, Jack must remain in the easy waters, where his body will have been punished by the retributive hold and bury some his dreams and longing to be something important in America. They will have been carried by the wind and the frozen. Finally, Rose was rescued and has been taken on another ship to America, where her story has been told, and perhaps in the future he will have been known and loved by many people of new generation.